Distracted by Bond villains. That's our intro. We're being distracted by Bond villains. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Legacies of Caine. We're playing Vampire the Masquerade. We are not Bond villains, nor are we acting like Bond villains.
Well, most of us aren't anyway. Tantus.
Just because I have a weather dominator in my backyard, doesn't mean I'm going to use it. And also, if any initials show up on the moon, it's not my fault. I
live in California. The sun is enough of a deadly laser.
Acceptable. So, hey, if everybody missed the last time we played, which I think was 2 weeks ago, I believe, or was it 3 now? I don't know, because my brain stops working. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I think we're not that bad.
I think it was. I think we only skipped 1 week.
Yeah. Everybody ended up in Kenya. You're going for the Great Rift Valley. There's a portion of it in Kenya that you've been hinted on because it's near Lake Victoria. Yes, Lake Victoria. You know that it's in the area near Lake Turkana because Lake Turkana is part of the Rift Valley expanse. And it's near the Namunkya Wildlife Conservative Trust. So yeah, you've general area to know. You know you're looking for a couple... you're looking for a model that was created by Markov. And I have to get into my notes here for a second to get the other name that you guys might be able to access more quickly than me, but I am not having you do it because I'm silly. Mekhet. There we go. See, you guys got a really quick translation. What was the other name? So I don't have to, dig into my notes? No, I didn't want to know. And Mekhet is supposed to be around in the area. I believe I gave you the list of a couple of things that would know about it. There you go. There's a wildlife study, a volcano study, a geologist from a university, a geologist connected to a company, wildlife patrols, and a cultural center. That are all in this region that are the main... the area itself is not really populated. This is the people that are in the region that you're exploring. Or the region that you're believing it to be in. And you're looking for someone that was looking out. So either you're looking for Mekhet is connected to one of these groups, or they may have seen something to hint you to where Mekhet would be. Because Mekhet is still a vampire and therefore would still need blood. So there could be some evidence somewhere that someone might have passed off, So again, either hiding in one of these groups, or maybe they saw something. Where did we leave off? I don't know if you went to any of these places. I can't remember.
No, we did not leave. Yeah.
You're not in Kenya yet, or are you in Kenya?
I'm okay with skipping to the "we're in Kenya" part, but
all right, then why don't
we're not in Kenya yet.
Why don't we start with you, because you were researching stuff, with your arrival in Nairobi. Nathan, your plane comes in. It lands in whatever the international airport in Nairobi is called. I'm not going to look it up right now.
It's the one in Nairobi.
Mm-hmm.
The most appropriate one for us to go into.
Oh, the Jomo Kenyatta.
You weren't supposed to look it up. I named it.
I put it into Google, and 3 seconds it came up. I started typing. I put Nairobi, and I started typing international, and I put IN, and it showed up. Okay, Google was nice to me. Yeah, for once.
We should also probably figure out if there's a prince in this area.
Good call. There's not particular a prince within the within Africa itself. There are plenty of vampires that do show up, but the thing is, you really have the legacies, the Libod, who are the main controllers of it. There are a few major groups which control the regions, and let me see if one of them would be in this area. That's probably more central. I don't know where Gambia is in comparison to their. I'm going to say that currently, Legacies are all the clans that have a role in Africa. So there are some clans that have had steps into Africa. There are only 3 clans that really have had any process into it, I would say. The Ventru, the Malkavians, and the Followers of Set. The Followers of Set, northern Africa, because they're coming from Egypt. The Ventru and Malkavians from various intrusions that happen as part of, Europe going into Africa. The Bonsam are one of the major groups. Let's see here.
Indigenous?
Are one of the indigenous groups. There are 3 main ones that you will be able to find out about very easily, and then there's a lot of other minor groups which may have the same names or different names because of the evolution, and also because, I gotta be honest, there is very little stuff on modern Africa in vampire lore. Unfortunately, more of it's Dark Ages, so forgive me if I go by the stuff I know here. The Bonsam are one of the major groups. They're very hunters. They're a lot more nomadic. They don't have the same kind of control as some of the other ones. There is the Impundulu. The Impundulu are like a necromantic group. So that's something to say about them. Yeah. And the Ramanga, who are a... Anyway, to get...
How far away from the airport and how far away from the place we're going is the nearest Ventru or Malkavian space? Or...
Not in Kenya. I'm going to tell you they're not in Kenya.
So,
I'm going to say probably South Africa and West Africa have some bastions, because those were the most, colonized initially. So they were able to get the best steps in those areas. In this area, which I'm trying to just find something quickly here. Currently, the Gruhi are the dominant group you know about. There probably is a presence of Gruhi in this area. Where they would be and how to contact them, you're not sure, because where it's like your cousins who are in the areas of the Africa that have had generation or like a lot of time to adapt, there are probably some old vampires that are more the old ways, and some newer vampires, as the generations have gone, who are a little like mixed in love, like combining like old Ventru, like from the old country, and a little bit of the African motif. Here it's very just them. Though the Gruhi are very similar to the Nosferatu.
Okay.
So that's something to know. Their appearance depends on their, basically, what they call their IA, which is based on their mood. If they have a very high IA, or like a very good mood, they look very beautiful. If they're very low, they turn into a monstrous creature.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
So watch out for beautiful people and monstrous creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
So yes. And the last thing is the 3 major Libons are the Gruhi, the Sebo, and the Shango. So there you go.
All right.
You think you are in Gruhe territory, I'm going to say. Gruhe territory.
All right. Well, as long as we're pleasant and nothing bad happens, I don't imagine we should need to interact with them much at all. Shall we go with the same overnight cover story? Oh no! Bachelorette party. That's right.
Yes, you'd gotten this, like,
That's what it was.
bachelorette safari.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Woo, bachelorette safari. So, yeah, there's a bachelorette safari going on. How are you involved in this entire situation? Because it is a bachelorette party for Candy.
I mean, I am not supposed to be involved at all. I'm financing it, but...
Mm-hmm. But you're here in Kenya, too.
Hmm?
But you are also in Kenya, though, so it's sort of like,
Well, yeah, the business trip is going to be in the van,
Mm-hmm.
and Candy and her friends can use the party bus,
Mm-hmm.
the larger space.
Yeah. Okay. So.
And, we can get together in the evening.
Yeah.
For whatever happens.
Mm-hmm. So vehicles will come in. The party group will come in. You'll all be there with the the group. The bachelorette party will be there. Dawn is going to be with them, I'm going to say, because Dawn is going to be looking after them, kind of thing. Especially
at night, at least.
Indeed. So, what's your plan? You've got a couple of leads.
Well,
which one do you want to take?
I imagine we could email or contact or something the volcano study and the geologists to ensure a safe route through the Rift Valley.
Okay.
And ask if there's anything we need to watch out for.
Are you approaching them as, like, tourists, which kinda you half are, or as more like you have your own business there? Because they are technically scientists, and you need a good excuse to get information from them.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're tourists, but we're also planning on doing a week-long or however-long trip through the Rift Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like they would be the experts on dangers and other...
We are surveying the area for potential areas to fund a wildlife preservation reserve.
Isn't that kind of already what it is?
The area you are in is wild, but it is not in the wildlife preserve. The wildlife preserve is nearby. Like, if I was going to go by maps, you are in a region which is approximately, I would say, like, 30 square miles. That is in between 3 small villages that are to the south of Lake Turkana. The Nakyuka Wildlife Preserve is nearby.
What we could do is say that we're investigating or doing a touristy but still fact-finding mission to find a new tech support center.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You are going to be at Lake Logipi, which is
My character
a
does have
tiny
some
lake to the
skills.
south of Turkana, like the Lake Logipi area. So there is.
Oh, Can Umber join in?
Oh, sure.
Or no, sorry. Or was that him saying he's gonna... Never mind. I think I misunderstood that.
I can't see anything.
Yeah, I know. He said... Yeah, I think he was gonna... I think that was him doing it. Never mind.
Mm-hmm. So, like, this area here, I can't say that it's, like, completely... It's not like it's unexplored by man, because it's not like it's the wildlife preserve. But it's, like, old dirt roads that maybe lead to nowhere. You know, there's probably a couple of farms scattered throughout the area that are, like, probably to the south and maybe closer to the lake. There's a lot of hillish, mountainous region, which is not great for farming. So, you know, it's a great natural area. There really isn't a population here. And that's kind of what you're in. You're in this, like, kind of expanse that's in between... it's at the border of two of their counties. I don't know what they call them. They might actually... Regions. I saw for a second. Oh, they actually are counties. Huh. Because when I zoomed in a lot in the satellite view, it actually showed the county line. And Lake Logopi here is kind of like you're going to be your center of it, which is a much smaller lake, about a quarter mile wide, 5 miles long, to the south of Turkana. Though part of southern Turkana is probably within your... Or Turkana is kind of like your beginning point, but you think it's probably, from the description, this area here, because this is where, like, the rift kind of goes in through. Like, otherwise, it's very flooded in Lake Turkana, except for a couple of small islands along the rift. So it could be one of the small islands, and then you get out of Kenya. So there's 3 islands in Lake Turkana and the Lake Logopi area. And after that, you get into civilization. So you're pretty sure, since this hasn't been discovered, not in civilization.
Yep. So what we can say is we're looking to go green, so to speak, and use the immense amount of sunlight that we get from the African area to power solar panels for this tech support issue. And, you know, we haven't done a whole lot of investigation yet. We're looking into the various, the feasibility of doing this. And also taking the ladies on vacation.
Okay. You could probably get some basic information from most of them. They're probably not going to go too deep into it. The volcano studies, the thing is, like, they're going to be like, well, I'm sorry we can't tell you very much. We've been studying the volcanics, the rift zone in this area and the volcanics of it. Most of them are currently inactive, though there has been a few that are showing some signs of activity, but the activity is pretty low, so it might be still hundreds of years before we see anything in the region. That's what I can warn you about the geology. Otherwise, what most people... I would hire a good guide to look out for all the wildlife. And unfortunately, since it's not a natural reserve, there are still some poachers in the area. So I would look out for them. The natural reserve also deals with poachers probably a lot worse in a way, because more nature kept there, unfortunately. But no, we've had to have armed escorts, so I would recommend having those. Sorry I can't be of more help. I understand wanting to help the region and all, but...
Sure. Do you have any research available to the public, so to speak?
We do have a few papers that were published recently. We can throw them out there, but they're just some initial things on the... one of them on the geological timeline of one of the volcanoes that they managed to study that seems to be relatively extinct. You know, so they managed to have, like, a deep dive and, like, excavating stuff from it, you know, and drilling and things like that and studying it for a while. And another one on the plate tectonics of the region here, of a close study using this area for the plate slide.
And if you'd be able to share your maps of, you know, where things are, so that we have a good idea of where we might want to start building. Like what places might be more unstable or dangerous or etc.
If you're talking about solar panels, they'll tell you about like a few areas on the map which are flatter, because that's usually what's kind of needed.
Yeah, no, I don't actually want to like hear this stuff on the phone. I'll send you an email address where you can send this information.
They'll send you like something that'll just point out a few areas that are kind of flat.
Okay.
If you then contact, I have to spell this correctly. Oh, there it is. Oh, thank you. So, if you contact the geologist from the university, he's in fact studying Lake Logopi, which is a saline alkali lake. So it's like it's a salt lake. It's always aridity. I think it's just you can't drink the water from that. I'm fairly certain.
Okay.
Oh no, I think you can a little bit. Flamingos eat stuff on the side of it, and there's stuff that grows there, so it's not completely toxic. It's just not. It's probably like it's like salt lake, you know. Probably not good for us to drink. You know, we're sensitive to this crap.
Well, you could technically set up plants to desalinate it, but yeah, not efficient right out the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. So they've been studying Lake Logopi, and it's and the material around it. Again, they're not going into like the volcano side of it because it is a lot of the results of how the lake is the results of volcanic activity in the region. To get at this, like you know, the alkali materials in there, saline and alkali materials are kind of driven there from volcanic activity. They're studying like the you know the geology of it, you know, and some of like the materials that are being pumped into it, the composition of the lake and stuff. They're like, we've just been studying it. We've been having a little camp set up here. There was an old there was some old abandoned buildings we took over. We've been here for approximately 6 months. We were going to finish our study about 2 months ago, but with the lockdowns and all and everything, we were able to get an extension on our grant and continue the studies. It was a good excuse to try to get it, and very easy at that point in time. So I mean, we're going to be here for a couple more months at this point in time until things seem to quiet down a little bit. I can't say we know a lot. There's a old road that comes into our area. If you're looking to study some stuff in the region, looking to set up some like green energy or something, we're not against you maybe stopping by our camp. I mean, sounds like you're accompanying like some people that I guess are your funders that are I understand that. We haven't, you know, sometimes you have to make do. Normally, for me, it's parties at the university, but I guess a party on the go in Africa is not the most unusual thing I've heard. So.
All right. Anything you'd like us to bring if we do stop by?
Oh, geez. I'm assuming you're going for a normal quarantining, so that's good. Inform us, you know, once you've got all that done with and stuff, and you're in the country. Can you bring me like a Hershey bar? Like, I gotta be honest, like some candy, American candy. It's expensive around here if you want to get any.
Oh, fair warning. We already have American candy here, and she might not appreciate.
She's British.
Oh, right. That's right. I keep forgetting because you don't get the accent.
I can't do terrible version of a New Yorker accent in British because I know it exists, but I can't do it, so I just do my New Yorker accent.
We have British candy, but she's mine. I'm sure we can bring some American candy. Oh, right, Hershey bars, of course.
It would be nice, yeah. So yeah, you can stop by us use our area as a little bit of a base camp before you go out on your scouting and stuff. We wouldn't mind. We still have some room. As I said, just, let us know when you're done in the country and finished your quarantining and all.
Yeah, and the old buildings you said you taken up, are they old, like, archaeology old, or old, like...
I think maybe like 100 years old. It looks like someone was setting up some kind of, I don't think fishing operation, because the lake itself doesn't have, the lake itself here, oh no, I think it's something from the turn of the century fishing, before Lake Logopi separated out from Lake Turkana during some volcanic activity. It's actually interesting that when it got separated off was the same time that the nature of the lake changed as much as it did. It kind of got separated out, and as fortunate there's just enough of the rainfall and water in the area, this region, to keep the lake supplied, even though it's mostly cut off from its other neighbors. He can probably go into more detail about how fascinating it is, the nature of it, that it's like,
Yep, and I'll give him that same email to send stuff to.
Apparently hot springs also add to it.
That would be an excellent benefit to offer to employees.
Yeah, so hot springs and rivers during the rainy season actually keep the lake from drying up, even though it's separated from any other normal water source most of the time. So it's only 3 to 5 meters deep. Wow. On a pH shape 9.5 to 10.5. Anyway, enough of that one. Hot Springs episode. We're not having a Hot Springs episode, Lightning. Sorry. It's not the same. I mean, if they want to. Anyway, and you're connecting to the company geologist, right?
Oh, sure.
If you want to. He's like, who is this? What can I do for you? Look, I'm pretty busy right now. You don't seem to be connections to the home office, so who are you?
I am an entrepreneur attempting to move into the area. What company is he associated with?
I will insert the name of a famous company that does a lot of actually no. Insert name of some kind of tech company here that builds like computer parts. They're probably mining for some kind of rare earth metal or metal that is is used in making computer parts. We'll just say that's what he's looking for. Yeah.
Interesting.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember which one would be a good one to name for that. Gotta be honest.
Initech Production.
Sounds like a good name. Initech Production.
Cool. Yes, I'm obviously from the United States, and we're actually in a
spelling better.
Related field. We're thinking about moving a new space to provide tech support in a green manner, so to speak.
All right.
You know how marketing is these days.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if you would be able to provide any information that you guys have acquired on the region and where buildings might be able to go or might fit best, or at the very least who you talk to.
How about this? We'll inform you of some areas that we want you to keep out of because they're areas that my company has invested in. You understand that? And then all the other regions are for you to do whatever you want with. And perhaps, though, if you should have to set up some green energy, we might be willing to make a deal at that point in time to keep us off the Kenyan grid.
Ah, that would be excellent. Would buildings interfere with your business at all?
If they're not in the if they're in the right region, then no. If they're in the wrong region, then perhaps yes.
Fair enough.
Our operations are widespread in the mountain range. Just know that, and we'll let you know then if there's any other regions that we're expanding to keep out of.
Very well. We're also going on a trip through the valley to see the sights. Are there specific places, will they be labeled or marked, that the public isn't allowed to go?
No.
Ah.
Alright, they're gonna hang up.
Well, he was an asshole.
Yes! He's a corporate shill.
A reasonably helpful one.
Yeah. He's very obviously corporate shill, but he's there.
Yep.
Let's build in their areas.
Mm-hmm. You're not actually going there to build. I don't know why you build in their area. You're just gonna
want to.
No. You're just gonna build. You're just gonna build just like a rock hobble. You know, so just put some rocks together in the shape of a house. And you're like, I have built in your area, up yours.
That'll show them.
Like someone should put up like a sign that says, in bad language, it says, "Oh, I have the freaking dice." Like
it just says, "Inatex sucks."
I was gonna say just like the words in it, like badly spelled, historic site.
I'm gonna start an online propaganda campaign against their company for being rude on the phone.
Yeah.
Their customer service is shit.
Yeah. Their Yelp reviews are getting bombed right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've set up millions of bots.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so there's some basics that you will receive. You'll get some information about some of the region. It seems as though, like, in between Lake Logopi and Lake Turkana are where there's a group of young volcanoes. They currently are inactive, but they very well could become active again. That kind of thing. You know, they erupted during the last century and stuff, resulting in the creation of Lake Logopi. That seems to be a very hotbed of volcanic activity. That's not where the volcanologist were. The volcanologist was farther to the south, below Lake Logopi, looking into some of the older volcanoes. That's what they were investigating right now, not the young ones. The mountainous regions, a little bit to the south and a little bit to the east and west of the lake region, are where it seems though the geologist connected to the company is. And as I said, the geologist of the university is at Lake Logopi. That's all you know. You're pretty sure, like, of the 6 groups, that's what you know. I also think I said that the cultural center was to the... What direction did I say? Well, now it's to the west of that area. So it's like, in one of the small... it's off of, Aliyah, a small town to the west of Lake Logopi. About 20 miles west of there. As I said, Lake Logopi is like the center of this like 20 to 30 square mile region that's pretty empty. So you have like, if you were going to go to the west, it's Aliyah. To the east, it's South Hor. Spelled Horr. I'm probably butchering it. And I mean, the rift keeps going down until it goes into more civilization anyway. But yay, geography. Anybody else you want to contact? Or you can head in the region.
Yes, I'm taking my notes first.
Okay. So you know where all the various groups are, of those 3 groups. You'll know what they kind of suggest about stuff. Just some general information. a lot of that flat area seems to be around the Lake Logopi region, I'll have to say. That's at least the suggestions they give.
All right. Let's go with the wildlife patrols next.
Okay. So the wildlife patrols, it's going to be hard to like contact anybody for sure about that kind of thing, because the fact is, they seem to be associated with a lot of the three major local villages around this region. Southern Hor, Aliyah, and Baragoi, which South Hor and Baragoni are on one of the main roads. Aliyah is on this kind of like back road of a couple small settlements to the west. So it's kind of like an east-west barrier. They have these... You can find out that they have these patrols that are kind of organized from these villages that kind of... When they're not doing the materials they need, the stuff they need to survive, they've got a group of volunteers, usually younger men, that are like, you know, respectful of nature, that go out there and try to, like, you know, deal with it. There's probably also a little bit of, I would call it military presence, even though it's not like military. It's, you know, the little National Guard-y, I would say.
The people who watch out for poachers?
Yeah, the people that watch out for poachers.
Okay. Well, I guess they're the ones I want to get in contact with, then.
Okay. It's not difficult to get in contact with some people. You'll find someone that's you can get in contact with someone from South Hor. That seems to be associated with it. So this is someone that like speaks English. Is like, what can I do for you?
Hello. We're having a nice safari trip down through the rift, and we heard rumors that we needed to watch out for poachers. What kind of precautions would you recommend?
You are tourists, yes?
Yes. We're also sort of here on business. We're looking into the feasibility of setting up a remote support station here in the area.
This region is not good except for science. I must warn you, if you are trying to develop something here, it's not a good region for it. For poachers, there are some that patrol the regions that come into the area. You must always keep a lookout for it. It's a problem that has been throughout most of Africa. So I can warn you that no matter where you go on safari, you may have to deal with it. The right guide, and perhaps an escort, would be well. Most times, most guides are your escort. Whether or not you would repeat the same thing and choose wisely, I cannot say. I can give you warnings, American traveler. But if you come to my country, you help my country, that I do not mind you visiting. But know this, if you hunt an animal, you will be poaching illegally, and you will be prosecuted properly. We will take you in. If you are merely here to exploit our land, like so many are, then don't come. Stay out. If you are here to help us, to make our country better, then you are welcome. As long as you remember, it is our country, not your Americans or your Europeans.
Makes sense to me. I was planning on hiring from the local villages and providing training and doing a green, as the marketers are so keen on these days.
Well, If you are looking for a guide, there are many in the region. I'm sure you could find someone if you visited our small village or one of the others around Logapi.
Any suggestions?
I do not. We do not get many tourists in this area. They are normally down at the Wildlife Trust.
Is that the wildlife study?
No, the wildlife study is in this region. They're specifically studying like
I was just asking if what he was referring to was the wildlife study in this area.
No. I am talking about the conservation park to the south. Where many more tourists go for various the conservation parks in the region where more tourists go to, and there are many more people that would guide safari in those regions.
Makes sense. All right. What sort of animals should we watch out for?
Probably most of the big animals in Africa. I would say wildlife of Kenya, cheetahs, elephants, lions, giraffes. Probably not necessarily like rhino. There's like a list of animals that are probably all dangerous. If they're in that area, I can't say. Like the rhinoceroses tend to be in the national parks. Both white and black rhinos are in Kenya. There are still some wild ones that can be found roaming in other places, like where you're going to. But most of them that are still like known are in like national park regions. Same for everything.
I guess I was more asking like which ones are particularly aggressive.
Lions. It can be found all over Kenya.
Alrighty.
Lions, cheetahs, leopards. Let's see here. Hyenas. That's a nice one. Don't mess with elephants. Don't mess with hippos. I mean, yeah. Cape buffaloes are technically in the region. They are mostly to the national parks, but Cape buffaloes are just mean motherfuckers. So, the answer is, there's a lot of dangerous things. It's Africa. They have very large, very dangerous animals. Very beautiful, but also will definitely murder you.
All right. Thank you very much for your help.
Oh, sure.
All right. Let's check with the cultural center.
All right.
Maybe they could find us a guide.
Okay. Yeah, the cultural center. I think the cultural center, I was saying, was a little farther to the south of the area you were looking into. Closer to... I'm going to say it's closer to Napatome, which is probably closer to, like, village size to Southern Hor. And it's farther to the south along the main west road. Like, East Road is Southern Hor, which is your kind of like... Or South Hor, which is technically your big village in the region. Napion, which is like further to the south, you know, kind of like at the edge of this region I'm talking about, is part of your big village. It's outside of that. It's just the cultural center deals with a lot of like the tribes that were in this region and stuff like that, and studying them. They're in charge of like keeping up with the archaeology and also like the culture, keeping the culture of Africa. So it's kind of like that combination, you know, this is our heritage, you want to learn about it and learn the past and stuff kind of thing, you know, place. So there's a little bit of archaeology, a little bit of current cultural stuff, kind of mixed together. They probably have a nice area that tourists could visit, whether they are tourists from other parts of Kenya, which do happen occasionally. If you can go on a vacation, you do. Maybe this is the area you go to. I don't know.
Sure.
Or, people coming in from other countries definitely could visit. If you want to talk to them, they currently do not have any major archaeological studies or anything like that going on, or any digs planned. So that's one thing that I'm noting right now. You can figure out about that. That's why you didn't hear about anything.
Makes sense.
They're like, it's unfortunate that if you are in the region, we cannot give you a necessarily idea of a guide. If you are looking into maybe a tour of some archaeological sites, we have a few archaeologists here on site in our employment that work for us, that may be willing to, for a price or a donation to the center, take you to a tour of some places where we found some things from ancient African cultures. Most of those sites have been dug up, and it's more of seeing maybe a few old ruins, or perhaps places where pottery shards and things like that were found. Other than that, if you are looking for a safari tour guide, I'm afraid that we do not have any of those here. If you're looking for a safari, I would recommend the Wildlife Conservative Trust, the Namayok. It's the best place for safari in the region. I'm sure they would take kindly to American tourist money. But for ourselves, as I said, if you're looking for something more archaeological, perhaps we can find someone that could help you if you want to stop by. If you want to stop by and learn a little bit about African culture in the region, and perhaps give some kind of donation, that'd be wonderful. And especially if you are planning to do some kind of construction in the region, maybe understanding what kind of cultural points and impacts there would be. So if you would find some kind of artifacts, you could come to us first before bulldozing it. I know that there are many American companies in your region, there are many countries in America that will not do this for your own native populations, but perhaps since you are aiming for green, you are one of them that would look to fossils and such.
Sure.
We also do keep a slight record on the fossils in the region too, though we do not have a paleontologist on staff. If we can send to Nairobi for the University of Nairobi for one on hand, it should any be found.
Neat. Do any of your archaeologists speak English?
Yes. Both of them speak a little English. One of them is a member of our country who has went to the University of Nairobi, got his degree, learned a little bit of English, should be able to speak decently. The other archaeologist is he'll give names of both of them, which I will not look up right now, but it depends on if you want to grab one of them. There's a Kenyan man, as I said, and the other one is a Frenchman who does speak some English, too.
Well, we know somebody who speaks French, don't we?
I don't know. Maybe.
Doesn't Leslie speak French?
Possibly. We'll have to ask him when he is in existence, since he had to wander off for a little bit here.
This is going to sound like a strange question.
Mm-hmm.
Are either of them particularly attractive?
It depends on your standards.
Fair. Are either of them married?
I am unaware. He's not sure about the French guy. He thinks that the one from Africa he had been married, but isn't he? He's like, I have not talked to him in some time to get updates on his personal. Well, actually, wait, no. He's gonna say like, what does personal life have to come into this?
Well, see, there's two groups that are going with. One of them is myself and a few other members of my executive team, and the other is my wife-to-be for her bachelorette party.
I respect that you are combining business and pleasure. I'm guessing that since you talked about safari, your wife is going to be on safari while you work on business of investing in the region, yes?
More or less.
Well, if your wife would like someone that is a bit more eye candy, then I could say you could talk to both of them and find out. If your wife is... other than being married, if there's something against that, I do not know. If you will come here and are planning to talk to one of them, I could find this stuff out. But it does seem like unusual information to share.
Fair enough.
I will also let you know, because I found this out. English is an official language of Kenya, so there are probably not everyone, but plenty of people do, because the national language is Swahili, but the official languages are English and Swahili. So,
thank goodness.
Yes. So there probably is a very good vein of people that speak English in Kenya.
Alrighty. Well, we'll be sure to stop by, and I'll talk to them at that time.
Mm-hmm.
No pressure, I mean. Alright, thank you for your help. If we were to call the Wildlife Trust, would they be willing... Do you think that they would send guides up through the rift to the north? Or would they remain in their space?
I do not think a guide would know a lot about this region, but they might know about the wildlife, if you need someone to look out and help you with wildlife. As for sending them up to help you come in this region, perhaps with a large enough donation to help keep Africa's spaces wild and the animals protected, then perhaps they'd be willing to. It's the unfortunate thing that, I must confess, without important American investors such as yourself, many of these places are much more difficult to handle and to run. The reason that our center is so well adjusted is there are a number of American and European universities that send investments to us to help us keep up our region and study some of the archaeology here. It does mean that when archaeologists come into the region, we are friendly to them when they are not under our direct appointment.
That makes sense. All right. Well, thank you very much for your information. I think you'll be able to expect a visit from us in an appropriate amount of time.
Have a good day.
You as well.
Okay. All right. So yeah. Anybody else you want to contact or this region, or you've gotten? I think that's most of them. I think the only one you haven't heard from is the wildlife study.
Correct.
Did I tell you what the wildlife study was doing?
Nope, not yet.
Okay. I will then tell you that the if you want to look into it a little bit, the wildlife study is in fact studying the local impala population in this region.
So what kind of cars they've got?
Ha 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 ha. Yes. It's a antelope in the region. They've been making some studies in it, and it seems that their studies are based on the migration patterns of the herds throughout this region here, and how they've been avoiding, dips into civilization and stuff, into studying that, they're kind of looking to see how the advent, because they're in a region that's not as controlled as, let's say, these wildlife regions, how civilization around them as it's existed has impacted their migration patterns and stuff. They, if you want to contact them, they do have a kind of base. It is farther south and a little bit more settled region. Mukawa is going to be based out of there, and then they move into the region to do their studies and stuff too, because I mean, it's up to 50 miles away that they have to travel to the Lake Logopi area, but like apparently the herds that they study travel throughout this kind of region. So they're studying a much more larger region of herds rather than just the wildlife conservation, you know. They currently are based out of there, but move their kind of base of operations as they need to as the herd travels longer distance.
All right. Sure, let's give them a call.
You can find out some contact information, give them a contact. Hello, what can I do for you? Actually, let me give him what can I do for you, my good friend?
I am here on a business vacation.
Yes, all right.
I'm looking into the Great Rift area.
All right.
And we're considering investing in some green development for essentially a call center that can also create energy for the whole area.
Interesting. This is a very interesting area to develop in, but I can understand working in the... I've heard tales of other companies working in the third world, but if you want to invest in green energy, that is very supportable. What is it that you need to contact us here for?
Well, see, we're doing our first, I suppose, scouting trip, and so I've brought some of my executive team, and we're just enjoying, or planning to enjoy, a nice vacation in the area while seeing the sights and hopefully finding some good sights. And are not familiar with Kenyan environmental risks.
If you're talking about the dangers of the rift itself, I would say contact some of the survey teams that would deal with that. If you are talking more around the eyes of...
more the animals.
The animals? That is a more difficult thing to talk about in a way. We can inform you of some of the basics of the animals. There are many things in this area that would be dangerous to you. If you are traveling out there, I would definitely recommend having some form of guide. Things like lions, leopards, hyenas can all be very dangerous to anybody traveling in the region.
I understand that your teams do reasonably extensive travel in that area for your studies. Would anyone or several be available as guides?
I do not know if any of our people could be available for specifically guides beyond what we are working on. We are oftentimes very busy keeping up with the herds as we are studying them. Keeping track of births, deaths to the local wildlife, deaths to nature itself, things like that. The places that they go to find water, food. Our personal guide that is with us, that knows the region, is oftentimes very busy leading our team members to the various locations, and that would have extra time to assist you. Unfortunately, perhaps if you would wish to stop by, I could see you could talk to them if they would know someone else that could help you.
Fair enough. How extensive are your trips? Because if they range fairly widely, perhaps I could offer some compensation for allowing us to join you.
Our trips vary throughout most of the region because we are following a herd of animals which does not pertain to where necessarily the dividing lines between various human habitations. Some of them cross some of the various dirt roads in the area, things like that. So we vary quite widely, unfortunately.
Fair enough.
I do not know if the area that you would be wanting to develop in would be particularly one that we could, that you'd be easy to show to you.
Fair enough. Have there been any issues recently that we might want to watch out for? Unusual,
Nothing,
I don't know, predator activity, I suppose?
nothing unusual as for predators. Certainly, the local lion population has always been a possible threat. Lions are always dangerous. The other animals, depends on where you are. They seem to be the ones that we deal with the most, as they are the ones that we have dealt with most when it comes to hunting the herd that we've been studying. That's the best I can tell you on that one. Not that other animals haven't done it before.
And any tips to watch out for poachers?
If you are dealing with poachers, I would recommend either having someone that has experience with battling something like poachers, or just avoid them, if at all possible.
Fair enough. All right. Thank you very much for your help.
You're welcome. Why don't we take our first break here then? Now you've communicated with all these people and have gotten a little bit of information from everybody in the region.
Yep. I'm going to have one of my people send a nice, $10,000 donation to each of the places except for the company.
Okay. Sounds good. So, if you need a drink, snack, bathroom break, go ahead and take those, and we'll be back in a little bit. So, see you in a little bit, folks. And Jupe and Jupe. And I think we're all here. Welcome back, everyone. Hello. All right. So you've contacted everybody you can in Kenya to give as much information as you can, which hasn't helped you 100%, but it has given you some ideas of some things to work on. It's been a start. We had you arriving in Nairobi, in the international airport, whose name I've forgotten, but we totally had said earlier. You've got the party bus, you've got the van. The van specifically, probably it's more like, rather than like a minivan, like a full van, where the back is like blackened off, and it's like separated from the front, so they can have, I guess, do you want like Ryan driving it or something?
Yep.
So Ryan will be driving it while you can be all in the back, during the day and stuff. What's your plan now that you're here?
Well, if I recall correctly, we need to deal with a quarantine period.
Yes. I'm assuming we're going to kind of go through that, whatever the quarantine period is, for, safety's sake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and then I guess we'll head towards the, I don't know, Wildlife Study and Cultural Center were the only two that seemed remotely interested and or able to get us a guide. So, which one?
The patrol person wasn't like against you getting a guide. He's just like, I don't know anybody. You could ask locals. There might be someone. That was
Right.
easy.
What I'm saying is we don't have anything specific for a guide.
No.
Aside from those two things. So I
Yes.
was figuring we head for whichever of those is on the way to the other.
I'd say from... Oh, I gotta zoom out. From Niobe, probably the wildlife study is closest. But I will warn you, with how the roads are, you're going to have to, like, backpedal if you go to that one, to go to the other. Same for distance, because it's sort of like it wise out at a certain point in time, kind of like around the region that you're going to be going into, because it tends to be mountainy and volcany, so the roads don't cross it. And it's a giant rift that's just slowly expanding. So they don't have many roadways that cross it. Very limited, in fact.
Aren't we going to have to double back regardless of which one we go to?
Yes, but I will tell you, you probably have to double back less if you go to the wildlife one at Mukawa, because it is closer to that Y than the other one by a bunch.
Let's do that then. Any objections?
Oh, sounds good.
Okay. They're currently set up in like an old warehouse in this kind of like, I'm going to call it a warehouse, like some kind of like storage place or maybe shop or something, long since abandoned. It's a kind of small like village area, certainly set up with a lot of civilization here. In comparison, it's got, a number of shops and buildings, a bunch of farmland outside of it. It's very Africa. The main road that you came from, you kind of have to go off of it for about half a mile to get to the village. So it's not along the main. It's like to the side of the main road a little bit. There are some like dirt roadways that lead from it to the village. Yes. Thank you for interrupting my brain thoughts there, Kat. The major roadway was paved. It maybe not the best maintained, but it was a paved road that you were kind of on. You kind of move into dirt roads, head to Mukawa. As I said, it's got this kind of like central village area with a number of like small buildings. They're kind of spread out. There doesn't seem to be like city planning at all in the way the village is set up. They weren't really going for that. It's just a cluster of some homes and some small shops and stuff. And there's like a little like school there and stuff like that. The people have set up in what is equivalent to the next to the school. It's like equivalent to the gymnasium. They're probably giving some money to the local school to use their gymnasium as a setup for their studies. Which the school probably doesn't use their gymnasium much anyway. They're a tiny village school that probably has kids coming in from some of the local villages too anyway, or farmland, kind of coming in to study. Probably for younger kids. So it's not, this is like, elementary school level, definitely. Everything's pretty quiet. I'm assuming you're arriving, I'm assuming you left Nairobi early in the evening when you got up, kind of thing, or did you want to be asleep and have, arrive at sundown, kind of thing? You could time it out pretty decently to arrive around sundown.
I think planning to arrive a little after sundown would be perfect.
Okay. Yeah, certainly. You can, email your contact from there. Jorg Winters. That was your contact from the wildlife people. Jorg Winters. Hello. Yeah, it is nice to meet you, good friends. You had contacted us. Yes, great. Welcome to Kenya. Good to see you. It's been many weeks since we spoke.
Did you receive my donation?
Yes, we did. Thank you very much. It'll help a lot with our research.
Excellent.
Sweet. Thank you for existing. This is our guide here. I don't like that name. I'm gonna get another one. Sorry. I will try to pronounce this as best as I... Salehe. This is our guide, Salehe. Good to meet you.
Pleasure is all mine.
You were asking for maybe getting guide of your own? Salehe might know. I talked to Salehe when I heard you were coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I know someone who may be able to help you. You are seeking to see what is here in the rift, yes?
Yes.
An old friend of mine also does some guide work. I believe he is not busy at the moment or employed. It would be not far from here, a few miles away, and Suyani, to the north. You would seek out a man named Mosi. He would perhaps be able to assist you. I'll give you a last name here too, because I probably should. It'll be Mosi Okafor.
Excellent. Do you... would you have him... Would you be able to have him meet us here, perhaps tomorrow morning? Or tomorrow evening might be more comfortable.
It will take me a bit to contact him. Mosi is unique. He does not have a cell phone. I would have to contact someone else in the village and have them find him. So perhaps waiting till tomorrow to contact him. If you are planning to leave in the evening, then I could see if he would arrive by then.
All right. How far is the village?
As I said, about 5 miles to the north. It is not a long
would
journey.
you be able to potentially take us there this evening? Or would it be too late? I don't want to be impolite.
It would probably not be too late. If you would be able to drive me back afterwards, I perhaps would be able to assist. I believe we are leaving on an excursion, though, in a few hours. So, I will need to be back, though, by perhaps 10 o'clock. I believe
Certainly.
a late night survey of the Mbala.
Certainly.
And the man, Jorg, will be like, research waits on no one, and no time, and is at all times of night. So apologies. You may borrow him, but I'm afraid we would have to have him back in time.
I assume that you both think that the 5-mile trip will should return us in plenty of time, correct?
That is the belief. It's 5 miles away by vehicle, and it is along the main road to the north, so it should not be too
Trouble getting to Suyani. And Mosi should be still awake. If you want to be connected together.
All right. Well then, time is wasting.
Alright.
Let's go.
Salehi will get in your vehicle, and he'll tell you to head back to the main road, instruct you where to go to Suyani. It's another village, a little smaller than the one you were just in. Still, definitely like a center of some farmland and stuff, and some like the local region.
This actually area is a little nice. This feels a little like the region you've been in, at least where these small villages are, feels a little greener than most. So it's like I wouldn't call it like foresty, but it's not like it's not open savanna.
It's like maybe like scrub forests and stuff, I'd say. So short trees still, very like thorny, bushy around the area, but you know, certainly like not like a lot of open area where you get like very open savanna, which you know there is some in this region too. Once you arrive in Suyani, he will actually take you to a what looks to be a local watering establishment, i.e., a bar. Behind the bar is an incredibly old white man, probably in his 70s, who seems to be the bartender. He'll go, "Hello, Gunther." "Hello." Gunther is a nice old German man who has stayed here since the colonial day. His families have been here since the colonial days, when everything became no longer associated with Europe. His family remained behind, and he is the last vestige of his family, I believe, in this region. He serves the best cocktails in the area. Imports good stuff from Germany. Has good connections. Here is Mosi, though. He's gonna say something in Swahili to this man. He'll say something back. They'll kind of like, you know, give like a kind of like a half hug, kind of pats on your back kind of thing, you know. And he'll kind of turn back towards you as they kind of like laugh and talk about something for a minute. This is Mosi. Mosi. This is Mr. Franzon. He is a American investor who is hoping to bring jobs and green energy to our region, perhaps, if he can find the right area along the Rift Valley. He'll say something back to, like, Mosi will say something to him in Swahili for a second. Salehi will answer back, and then Mosi will go, I am not against your coming here and bringing some bits of civilization to our little area of the world. As long as you are not looking to deforest the area, pillage the land, etc., like many Europeans and Americans do.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking call center where those who are familiar with English can answer phones, and we can provide training and a bit of extra schooling, and hopefully leave as small an imprint as possible.
Don't you Americans normally employ people in India for that?
Yes. I'm trying to get on the bleeding edge of things so that, honestly, we'll have different accents because lots of people complain.
He'll kind of snicker to himself. Oh, that is fine. It sounds like good jobs, at the very least, for some of our people. And maybe an upgrade. And American money would be welcome in this region. I'm not against finding it, but since you need a guide, yes, I will guide you. He'll, put out a price, kind of information. It's not too expensive, it's an amount per day. He's going to say, it's a very dangerous job to take you into the bush. To have me under your employ, I will say it, for every day that we are not in the bush, $200. For every day that we are out in the wild, $500.
All right.
I do not know how much time you have to spend in towns dealing with the locals, but as long as I am under your employ, those are the basic rules. Also, you will pay for all of my drinks.
As long as they take credit card, that should be absolutely fine. Or if they have an ATM.
That we might have. We are not savages.
Perfect.
It's probably exorbitantly charged because it's like the Bank of Kenya or something.
Yeah.
They might have one in here in the bar. I'm going to say they probably do have one in the bar. It's probably the one in town.
Yep.
It's along a main road, and it's a place of business. Yes.
I figure I grabbed about 1,000 for just guides in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll grab out 500. I'll I'll just hand him 500
Mm-hmm.
and say, whatever the drinks don't cover is yours for the trip, and however many days I'll pay once we're done.
Excellent. Fair. So he'll accompany you. You now have Mosi, Okator on your team. Kenyan guide, Got. So he'll inform you that there are some old trails that could still be used into the region. Most of them are not used enough to be considered roads in any retrospect, but they tend to be used by game animals because they were cut out for various reasons along the area. Especially if you're heading up towards the Lake Logapi, where, fact is, again, there used to be some fishing and stuff in that area when it was connected to the other larger lake at Hull, about 100 to 200 years ago, so there's still some echoes of the civilization that was in that region before everything went to crap and that lake became very hardy animals live there. He will warn you, it is the rainy season, so we will be a lookout for animals to be moving around in various places differently. There are some small rivers and streams in this area that support things such as hippos, and with the waters flowing during this season, they have spread out a lot more, not returned to their areas that they are more safer for the dry season. So be careful. We also may have to do a few river fordings. Do you think your big American vehicles will be able to handle that?
I mean, I imagine we didn't... If I flew something over, it was something particularly rugged.
Yes.
I was thinking I was probably renting something from here.
Okay. The vehicle should be rugged enough, then, I will say, relatively speaking. The van itself is probably not made to be a party... the party truck or bus is not made to be a party truck bus, necessarily. It's probably meant to be, it's probably more of a converted original one cab truck that was kind of converted into a bus kind of thing, with fixing this stuff, and probably more for long-term safaris that go out into places with some various like a toilet in the back like a bus would have or stuff like that, so it's a converted kind of thing.
And I figured during the 2-week quarantine we probably tried to have
things fixed
as much extra amenity and fun added as possible.
Yes, you probably could have added some satellite communications and stuff, probably some extra gas, probably some batteries or generators or stuff that would definitely last for quite a little bit of amount of time, things like that. Definitely could have worked out some stuff.
Yep, a karaoke machine.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you'll drop off Salehi back with the others.
Mm-hmm.
He'll bid you farewell and say good luck on your journeys. I hope you can find what you were looking for and help our region. If not, I wish you luck in what you can find and safety at very least.
Thanks. To you as well.
It looks like he's going to go and start, getting ready for his journey, which is coming up.
Yep. All right.
So, as I said, are you going to head right away to Nepetom, which is the village in which the cultural center is outside of?
So, question first: Is Mosi also really old like the German, or is he?
No, I would say he's more maybe 40s.
Okay.
He's definitely aged well. However, he's on the older side, but definitely has aged well. He's very well toned, looks in great shape. He will bring a rifle with him. So he's going to pack up a rifle, and it looks like a handgun at his side. So he'll pick up some gear. It looks like a rugged backpack that he's going to bring with him too, which has like a machete tied to, maybe not a machete, some kind of axe attached to it. It looks like a traditional kind of tool of the region. The axe does. So it would be probably akin to a machete would be in a jungle, I'd say.
Okay.
But it's an axe made for probably doing some survival stuff here in Africa.
Cool.
So he is certainly armed though, just in case, at least basically.
Yeah, I will gently indicate that this van is the business side and the party bus is for a bachelorette party, and if he has any interest in making some extra money, he might be able to do so.
He's gonna raise an eyebrow and be like, I will probably not be interested in earning extra money that way. Apologies if you are insinuating that is something that I need to do.
Not that you need. It was more an offer.
Then I will politely decline said offer.
No problem.
Are we departing right away to the location you need, or do you wish for me to...
Where are you planning on staying for the evening, if you are planning on staying? I understand you are American, so probably are on a different schedule mentally right now.
Yes, for the most part. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us will more or less be staying in the van. And let's see, how many people did she invite?
We'll say, dozen? No, that's too many for a party van. We'll say half a dozen and herself.
Yep. Perfect.
That does not include Dawn, who might hang out with them during the evening.
During the day?
Evening.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fine. But Dawn would be sleeping with us, and
Yes.
they will be sleeping in the party van.
Yeah.
So 6 people in a big modified truck. Sure.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people at a time in the van. Also
Well,
probably fine.
Probably 7 if you include Mosi, because I'm sure with Ryan driving, he's probably up in the cab. He's just gonna be like, "Oh, I stay here. It's my job just to drive. If you need to talk to anybody, don't worry, I can."
Yeah, no. My thought was that Mosey would mostly, during the day, be doing fun stuff with the ladies and actually doing a safari.
Mhm.
And then once night comes, we'll get up and he can help us with some stuff, but he's mostly here for them.
Okay. Then, if you inform him that he's mostly there to be a guide for the woman's safari, and that you might you can probably give an excuse with our global positioning, since we're talking to other people, we're going to be doing work in the evenings and early night. That's a good excuse to definitely be disconnected, and separated from out, and you don't need him for a lot of the business point. You're going to need him more for the girls. He can definitely do that. So yeah, okay. Anybody?
And to keep us safe, obviously.
Yes. From the many large animals
of this area that could be very dangerous. He will do his best
Yep.
to do that.
Like Mekhet.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. You are welcome to sleep in the van. Have you ever been to the cultural center? Because I think that's our next stop. They had some archaeologists that were going to be able to show us some old ruins.
It's I'll this is we'll just say cultural center. I was gonna think of a title, but I can't think of any good cultural titles that would be appropriate, and I don't want to be inappropriate. Not that sounds a lot worse than I was thinking. I was thinking I was going to call it something that was not traditionally like a Kenyan like name or something in the region. I was going to call it something else, and I do not have enough knowledge of the history of the region to do that. Don't want to name it after an incorrect tribe or something like that, or people from the region. There we go. Now my English works. God, that sounded a lot worse when I said it, for a second there. I'm like, wow, that sounds like I was thinking something bad. No, I was thinking just,
Didn't want to be insensitive.
Didn't want to be insensitive and be like, call it something from someone from Tanzania. That's what which is,
Yep. Anyway, the cultural center. Have you been
Culture
there?
Center. No, I have not been there. It is something that has come along not with my youth. In the last 20 or so years, it has arrived. By that time, I was beyond the need to stop by a cultural center to look at my own heritage. Though I understand there are those that would like to seek it or to understand it. And if you are looking on both the side, I can tell you about many of the animals around here. I am no scientist, but my experience in the wilds, I can tell you what many of their behaviors are, or how they are dangerous, and I can take you to places that we may be able to view them. And if that is what you wish for your people to do from the side of your vehicle, they certainly can from behind the nice glass windows. They will be relatively safe. Perhaps we can find some lions or some elephants. Your vehicle should be big enough to not worry about the elephants. Should be. A big bull, though. It can still do some great damage, even to your party truck.
Fair enough. I think that we will definitely be deferring to you on all matters of vehicular safety.
I will do my best. But we are going to be traveling in a region where there are many dangerous things. And just because you know something doesn't mean you are going to be safe. It means that I am going to do the best to keep you safe. And whether your vehicles are safe or not, I will do even better to keep you alive. And all the rest of the people here. That is my main goal as a guide. Keep you alive, and if stuff goes wrong, keep you alive after stuff has gone wrong. Now, if we are going to go find someone that could take us to an archaeological site, great. They can guide you to that, and I can watch out and make sure nothing tries to sneak up and eat you while you're looking at the pretty rocks that were once the homes of somebody who lived here long before me. Perhaps one of my ancestors, perhaps not. It does not matter to me. But regardless, I will make sure your ass is not eaten.
Excellent. Exactly what I wanted to hear. Feel free to bunk up in the back. We're going to travel through the evening, explain situation, and we will hopefully have one of those archaeologists in the morning.
Okay. Why don't we take our second break here as you're now driving to Napitum to pick up your second guide, an archaeologist. So, again, if you need a drink, snack, or bathroom break, go ahead and do it, and we'll be back in a little bit. I will take a drink of water, though, because I was having that cough as we're going back. Hi, welcome back, everybody, for the last about half an hour of the show here. 40 minutes, half an hour, somewhere in between there. All right. So, once again, continuing to Kenya, you have arrived at Napitum, where there is the cultural center slightly outside of it. By outside of it, I mean like... It's outside of town by like maybe like a quarter of a mile. Probably a little less than that, So it's not in the town proper. But it's there. Napitum is along the C-111 highway.
without? Hey, it's got a hospital. The Napalm dispensary is in the area there.
Great. It's the only thing that shows up when I zoom in a lot.
How do you spell that? Nipatome?
Give me a second here. I will put it in chat. It's when I zoom in close and it's tiny, so it might not show up very well. Is that showing up in Roll20? Did that do it? Roll20 kind of worked for me when I had the hiccup on break.
Ah, there we are.
There it goes. Okay, it was just a little delayed. I had a little hiccup at the end of break there, so I was worried that it was going to...
Oh, that's why I couldn't find it. I was looking to the... I wasn't looking as far enough south of the lake.
Yes. It's there.
Anyway. It's probably not super late at night, but still enough that the cultural center is closed.
Yep.
What is your plan?
I don't know. Check a tavern.
Okay.
Anybody else want to join me?
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Alright, you can enjoy some local libations for a while. Spend the night in Napatum. Or is there anything in particular doing while you're here, or we're just going to have you spend the evening here? Spend the night here.
I would like to sort of feel around for any local legends or like weird stuff happening. Basically, I'm going to D&D it up.
Okay. Well. Let's see here. Give me a charisma investigation check. Can I do that?
Okay. I can do literally any combination of things, so yeah, I can do that.
Okay. I was just thinking if I'm remembering the proper things to say it, you know. Okay. You'll definitely get a lot of, like, local legends of things. What kind of legends are you looking for? There's probably a lot of legends of, like, mythical beasts and threats that are within the region, you know, things like that, you know. There was this, like, great...
I guess I'm sort of just looking for, like, what's on people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, if there are, you know, animals that go missing unnaturally, or, you know, what,
Most of the time that farmers feel like they're missing something, you know, they don't call it unnatural. It's more like, insert X animal that probably got my farm animal here. You know, that's the kind of thing that they kind of do. They excuse it to one of the many, many, many predators that are out there.
makes sense.
You know, sometimes there's things that are a little bit more unusual. In that case, you know, they'll, like, most people will account it to insert lion here, but there's a couple of people that'll, like, be like, oh, it's the blah 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 from our legends that, you know, like, hunts beasts at night, you know. They seem to be a lot of, like, you know, very traditional of, like, you know, strange creatures, cursed people, kinds of things like that. Some of them could be attributed to something akin to a vampire, but none of the stories that they give are very perfect fits. They're more like, a vampire could do that.
But
Would
so
they?
could a lot of other things.
Yeah.
You know, that's unfortunately what a lot of it comes down to currently with their kind of legends and stories about, like,
Around farm animals and animals going missing and stuff. Wild animals, that's, you know, sometimes when animals are found dead in unusual ways, again, it's like, oh, it's poachers. You know, they did something terrible. Again, sometimes, you know, there'll be also like, no, it's the legend of this thing, you know, that Cape Buffalo that was found, torn apart in a weird way. It was like, nah, look, it like someone was like, it got trapped in a trap from some kind of poacher. Ended up like tearing its leg off, you know, kind of like trying to struggle. It was awful.
And then an elephant probably trampled it.
Yeah, then like an elephant trampled it, and then the poachers got to like what was left to take some parts of it or something. They took its horns, you know, or something like that. So there's a lot of like weird-ish stories that are out there, but again, like it could also be something else that's supernatural too, because vampires aren't the only thing that's out there, and you know that for sure.
Right. But it's not like everybody's talking about, you know, the lions that keep showing up dead. Or
no.
Whatever. Okay.
Nothing super obvious. Like, some of these stories sound a little bit more supernatural than others. I'm going to tell you that. But it's unfortunate that, like, it would be a very unusual thing that happened, but it doesn't necessarily mean it was supernatural. It's just very unusual, you know? And you can go through a bunch of those stories. So I will tell you, like, you have some ideas. It sounds as though some of the legends seem to go around, the weirdest legends seem to go around Lake Logobee in that region. Some of the weirdest stories are from that area.
Okay.
And in fact, it sounds as though a couple of stories that seem the most sus to you would be kind of a little bit to the south of the lake, getting into the more mountainous regions in that area.
Okay.
So you did get something out of it. That sounds your best bet. If there is something supernatural in the region, that might be the region for it, or the area for it.
All right. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Then I don't have anything else, so we can just kind of...
Unless anybody else has anything that they're doing. And remember, if Umber says something in Discord chat, I can't check it on stream, so please let me know.
Well, I will let you know.
I could check it on my phone, but that involves me looking away to like this.
I'm probably just sitting around and listening to other people chatter.
Mm-hmm. It's a mixture of some like English and Swahili, so you can probably understand the English parts of it. But like when people are speaking Swahili, I assume you do not understand.
Yeah, no, I'm just kind of, you know, chilling, looking around. I'm sure they've got like signage.
Oh yeah,
that I'm looking at.
Lots of interesting signage. It looks like a combination of signage that's probably like, you know, stuff that would have been here from back in like, you know, more colonial days. You know, it's a very old building here. You know, some stuff from various alcohols and stuff from like, you know, probably some of it imported, some of it not. You know, some of it local. So interesting signage. You know, it's an interesting place.
Yeah.
Eventually the bar will close, though. What are you going to do when the bar closes?
Head back to the van.
Okay.
Steal the signs. No, yeah, I'll head back to the van.
Okay. I mean, you could steal some of the signs. They probably
I'm not
don't.
steal the signs. They probably wouldn't be happy with me.
Probably not. Not especially because it's like right in front of you. Are you planning on contacting the cultural center before dawn? Not the person. The time of day.
Does Dawn plan on contacting them?
I said not the person. Not the person. The time of day.
Oh.
I made them. I specified it. Thank you very much before you could get that joke in because I sensed it coming. I sensed it coming a mile away.
All right. So, I mean, do they have posted hours?
Probably like for general business, they open like after sunrise kind of thing. So it's probably like from like,
okay,
you know, might be like 8 a.m. to like, you know, 8 p.m. like for or like it might be like that's when they're officially like kind of open. They accept visitors, you know, during that time frame, because they're not like a major tourist place in general. Kind of saying like they get some tourists, but they're not like a museum. They're not like, you know, they're not worried about, you know, like having like specific hours and stuff as much. So like 8 to 8 they're probably open the main doors. Probably like there are people around a couple hours beforehand, a couple hours after.
Ryan, can you take care of this bit?
Okay. So you want me to check out the archaeological people and, I guess, choose one?
Yep.
All right.
You don't worry about asking about anything personal. Just pick whichever one you think is the best eye candy.
Okay.
Or if you prefer, the one who speaks the best English. That might also be helpful.
All right. Gotcha.
Excellent. I'll pull out wallet. This is 500.
Okay. Gotcha.
As long as that's enough to cover 1 or 2 days, you can agree to whatever price he's asking.
Right. Gotcha. I'll do my best.
Alrighty.
All right.
Otherwise, he can just speak to me once I wake up.
Yes. The day will once again come. Sun will rise. All of you will rest. And the day will pass. Another day goes by, and another evening falls. At this point in time, of course, you will all awaken. You'll spend your blood point to get up. Like, awake. Let me just stretch myself here a little bit, because as soon as I said that stretched, I was like, oh man, I could use that stretch. You can definitely find Ryan hanging out with folks kind of over at the party van. Oh, hey Nathan, how's it going? Oh yeah. How's it? How'd you sleep during the go?
Very restful.
It's good that you're here, because some unusual things happened. So I got to the place once it opened up, and at first none of the people were there. Then they took me on a nice little tour of the place. I got to learn some things. The girls were with me at that point in time. Candy and the rest of them, they kind of were they wanted to check it out, though many of them were a little messed up. Well, some of them were awake, and then so what happened was we waited a little while for the rest of them to get awake, a little late in the afternoon, and by then it was around 11, and that's when we really took the tour. I was originally going to do it earlier, but when the one woke up, and then I don't know her name. It's one of Candy's friends, the one from Britain, one of the ones from Britain. Look, anyway, so she got up early. Turns out that she doesn't sleep very long on a lot of booze, and I don't know why. That's an unusual thing for me. Maybe she just does it for a living. So anyway,
say again. She doesn't sleep very long on what?
A lot of booze, a lot of drinking.
Gotcha. Okay.
So anyway, it was around noon when our tour ended, and then we were talking to some guy who seems to be kind of in charge of the place, and then Candy and the girls, they wandered off to start their partying again, and then the nice man Mosi took them on a tiny tour around the area to see some of the local wildlife, that you can come see very safely around in this area, kind of showing them some of the ropes of some of the smaller things before we get into the big stuff. Anyway, while they were gone, I got down to business. So, I was talking to them about getting an archaeological guide. Turns out that they have the two guys that they were talking to you about. Now, both of them were a little interested, but not really interested, and I kind of talked to them. And I'm not a wordsmith, so it looked like I was able to get maybe one of them. There's the one man, Mr. Ibori, who was the man from Kenya here. The thing is, I think he didn't like us at all. He was kind of a little bit more against us being here. I think I could have convinced him maybe with enough money, but I feel like he was thinking that we were gonna, dig up the heritage of the place, destroy all the animals or something like that. Even with green energy, it's probably not a good idea, not the best region for it.
etc., something like that. Anyway, he was a little harder to convince to join because again, like it seems as though they're their own people, even though they're working for this place, kind of thing. They've got their own business. Then
Sure.
I talked to Mr. Bethune. I think I'm getting that right. The guy from France. And he was kind of rude entirely because he was busy cleaning up some pottery or something. Trying to assemble a bunch of pieces that he thinks go together from like a find. And he was very intent on, checking that out and not really paying attention to me. And you know me, I'm not much of a talker, so it's kind of hard to get his attention and really get a lot of information out of it. It sounded like maybe I could get him. And I was feeling a little distraught at this point in time because it had been kind of a couple of hours of working with them. And then the guy actually said something else. That he said that just a couple of nights ago, one of their other archaeological friends who had been off doing some business on his own had actually come into the place. But he unfortunately was not in the building at the moment, but was theoretically stopping by sometime this evening before they fully close up the building. So if we want to talk to that guy, he's supposed to be some kind of British man, according to at least the guy in charge. Don't know much about him. We could try him. Neither of them were that attractive. The French guy was kind of like big-nosed. The African guy, I'm not... the Kenyan guy, he seemed okay, but I'm not much for telling a lookers,
That's fair. I was only ever asking for your best.
So, I think I didn't hire any of them yet, is the only thing. I got contact information for the two from before, and kind of because they were a little weird, I thought I should talk to you. Like, if one of them would have been really good, I would have hired him on the spot. But the one seemed, the one was kind of hostile and the other was disinterested. I don't know about the third one. I can go...
Not a problem.
I can go, check
done.
in, because I've been doing this a little bit. Maybe I can check in with them if you want me to go first, or we can go in together. He's supposed to be coming back sometime soon. He had stopped by early morning a couple days ago and said he had some business to attend to at a nearby village. He was glad to be back in the region, get some work done, that kind of thing. That's all I had heard about it. Apparently, he comes and goes as he pleases, kind of thing.
I swear to God, if this is that goddamn mummy.
No.
Thank God.
No, I'm not gonna do that dirty.
All right. What was the French guy's name?
I will put their full names into the three names of the three different people. So the first one is Okapi Ibori. He's the Kenyan guy who is a little hostile towards you. You can still hire him. Alastair Bethune is the French guy who technically wants to work on his own work, but you could probably pry him away. He's just disinterested. And then Malcolm Chamber is the British man who you're not sure about him at all. But he should be in there tonight. If you want to check out on him, you can. Or you can take one of the other ones. Perfectly fine.
Okay.
None of them would be bad guys from what you know. You just know that two of them are you've just gotten a little bit of personality information from two of them.
Okay.
So, what do you want to do?
I'll let Ryan continue to take the lead. Although I will go with him this time.
Okay. So he's gonna head in. He'll kind of knock on the door because it's later at night. It's closed up. He said he'd come back, in the evening when some people are still probably around, doing some general work. When it's not open in case you get things. This woman will kind of answer the door. Miss Bancol. Good to see you again. This is one of my employers, Mr. Franzone. He wishes to come along and escort it. I'm still going to be the one talking to Mr. Chambers here and seeing if he's the right fit for our operation here. I consulted with Mr. Franzone here. I think we're going to see about all three of them. Did you give a donation to this place too?
I gave a 10K donation to everywhere except the Inatech.
Yeah. As you know, we already sent you the donation to help it, and, we will be paying the employment fees for whoever we hire on. And she's like, yes, that would be wonderful. Please, come on. Mr. Chambers has already arrived. He was checking in a number of artifacts that he had discovered. Recently heading north. He had actually been farther north than Kenya. He'd actually crossed the border into what's the country? Sorry, gotta zoom out. Into Ethiopia, and picked up a number of artifacts there. He was working with the Ethiopian government apparently, and he wanted to bring them back here and to compare them to stuff that we have down here to see if some of our works into some of the ancient cultures in this region are connected. It's interesting to see where the regions, because the borders in Africa did not exist the same way back in those days, Anyway, I digress. Come with me. She'll lead you kind of into the back, into an area where it looks like they've cataloged a bunch of stuff. It looks to be like they have a small collection here, not anything nearly as big as anywhere else, and most of this building seems to be dedicated to what they've collected here, and it looks like they're shipping stuff off to various universities and museums and stuff. They kind of study it for a bit here. There's a number of fossils and stuff, a number of pieces of pottery and stuff and things that they're specifically studying here. Some of it they send off, and there seems to be a small back office. It's kind of like one of those not quite an offices, so it's like you're in a larger room and they've got those poor wooden walls with kind of the glass window and door on the one side, that's just kind of loosely built into the place to create a smaller office and a bigger space, and it has no roof, that kind of thing. So that's what you got.
As you're walking past the artifacts that they do have, are any of them recognizable as basically Nodist?
Not recognizable, but you will note that a lot of the artifacts look, I would call them old style. When you look at an artifact, what's a good way of saying it? It looks more civilized than you would think. Because, you think, if I would think, in this region, where there was no major civilizations, you'd find stuff that would be a lot more tribal, a lot along the kins of something that would be Native American artifacts, a lot more simple stuff that would be from their kind of time periods, you might, and you're going to find artifacts like that. There's just a few items that seem a lot more like they would be found in something akin to ancient Egypt, ancient Mesopotamia, where there's a little bit more civilization. Now, granted, there were bastions of civilization that did show up in this region. It's just as though it looks like there might have been a small pocket of something in this region that they're studying. Whether or not that is Nodist or not related, hard to say. But that's the best way to describe it,
Got it.
Ancient civilization, city building, that kind of artifact level of stuff. Whether or not they're actually this building, but that's what I'm meaning. A little bit more, less tribal culture, more deeper city culture, settlement culture. Anyway, that's a very hard thing to also describe about. Anyway, there's just going to be kind of this man in very simple kind of khakis, looks very clothing that's set for being out in Africa, kind of short black hair. He seems to have his back turned towards you. You can see him through because they got they got a window, plus the door has a window on it, so these aren't private offices, obviously. These are little offices that someone can knock on the window and get your attention or something. He seems to be looking over some things. He's pulling up a piece of something and looking at it. She'll kind of knock on the window and be Malcolm, these are the people that I
I contacted you about when I heard you were coming in. I do not know if you'd be interested in assisting them.
The man will kind of turn around, kind of like look across you, kind of look over. Well, come in. I'm going to be working here, but you can pitch your suggestions. Thank you, Julisha. I'll take care of her here. I'll escort them out then too. You can also go. I know where I can contact Zane when things need to be locked up. We do have an overnight janitor and security in this place, so don't get any ideas. Not that I don't think you would. You obviously have money since you donated to the place. Anyway, what do you want?
Oh, yes. Well, you see, we're here for a number of reasons. The first and foremost is my employer here, Mr. Franzone, who, if you wish for him to speak to you, go ahead. But it's obvious that I've been the one dealing with your place here, so forgive me if I'm talking to him in a third person when he's right here. But anyway, we have been investigating possibly building some kind of center for our business here, like a call center of some kinds, employing some of the locals, setting up some green energy to support it so that we don't have to work on the direct grid, possibly give some energy back to the local region, things like that. Also, I will not deny that the other reason that we are here is Mr. Franzone, other than on business, is here for part of his wife's, his to-be wife's bachelorette celebration. While he is here on business, she is here on a safari. We've hired a guide. We felt that not only understanding where archaeological important sites were would be good for us to know where to avoid things, we could be shown the archaeological stuff to show off not only the animals of Africa, but perhaps some of the ancient history of it as part of this kind of safari thing. I believe Mr. Franzone's wife-to-be is very educated and enjoys that kind of thing. She does have a penchant for enjoying museums and such, and would be respectful of the cultures that you're studying here. Interesting pitch. Well, what do you have to say? Or do you want your little man here to speak enough for you?
I think he's doing an excellent job. Thank you, Ryan.
Look, I'm going to be honest, before you say anything else, not to interrupt you, and then you can give your spiel. I wasn't planning on being here for long at this place here. I've got some business to do. I was planning on taking a trip out into the Rift to take care of a few things. But an old friend of mine is in the area and had already bothered me to accompany me on my trip, unfortunately. Whether or not I would take you on a trip, well, that's an entirely thing another. As he puts down the last piece, he kind of turns around to face you, kind of like leaning back on the desk. It looks like he's kind of like finished at least some of the work he was doing. He's going to kind of like take like a... It looks like he's trying to judge you, kind of like, take a look across you, like kind of see what kind of person you are. Going to look for like a couple, like a solid minute and be like, if you want to say something during that time, you can tell he's definitely looking you over. If you're not going to say anything after he's finished looking over you, he's going to say then, no disrespect, my colleagues here probably aren't the best people to take you out. They would. I'm fairly certain that Okapi is going to hate you. He's much more the naturalist, and will probably take you to a couple of small sites that there was no significant discoveries on, just because that'll appease you. And then, call it a day, and probably tell you some regions to avoid because of various dangers, etc., natural problems, hard to access. Granted, those regions probably are hard to access, but they have other significances to them too. I'm just going to give you that there. He's going to try to keep you away from a lot of the natural, and probably discourage you from being here in the first place. All the lions and leopards and elephants and everything else that could crush, kill, eat, or stab you. Now, Alicist, if you get him, well, you're going to get a lecture in every site that you're going to get to, as he's probably going to sit down and start investigating something that he sees there and explain what he sees and what else can be found there. The man is easily distracted by his work. You'll learn a lot from him, maybe too much. Myself, well, I'm going to be dead honest about it. I'm not really that interested. Granted, I'm going out that way, which means it's a convenience for you right now, because I could at least lead you to a couple of places I was going to visit. What does that mean overall for you and me? I don't know. I won't need your money. I'm sure they would take some of the money to pay for it. But if you want to come along with me, I can show you those sites, and after that I'm going to leave you, because I have my own business to attend to. If you understand me. Will I tell you a lot about these places? I will tell you the basic things that probably you or your wife-to-be, your fiancé, would like to know about. I'll keep the rest to myself because you don't care. I don't think you care. She's probably more here for the big old animals. No disrespect to any of you.
Sorry, narcolepsy's a real bitch. I'm going to activate Auspex, I believe, sir.
Okay. I need to look up Auspex. Because
I was waiting for that.
I didn't open the book, and I wanted to check it anyway, just to read up, because I think it also gives you emotional stuff too, that's supernatural stuff, and I want to see that chart.
I've already got the roll ready.
Okay, why don't you roll it while I look it up? You know, you can go ahead and roll it.
Blowing a willpower on this, because it's going to be like the one thing I get to do today. 3 successes.
Okay, let me check some stuff what 3 successes would give you.
Leslie coming in with a bang.
Yep.
There we go, aspect or perception. You got your 3 successes. So, can distinguish only the shade, pale or bright. Can distinguish the main color. Can recognize color patterns. So certainly, I'm going to say that the main color now is that's not the right word, but maybe that's close.
What are you giving me, Sir Tan?
There's definitely a lot of red to his order, which is angry. You feel like that's like the main pattern. You're getting let me just check something here.
That is a color. Does it have a pattern with it?
That's what I'm checking about patterns and stuff.
Okay.
142.
Yes, hello.
Umber shows up. He her eyes.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Like the wildebeest in the night.
I will tell you with your 3 successes, it looks like a relatively normal pattern, but there's something off about his pattern. You just don't know what it is. Like, there's something unusual about it, but you cannot read it at your level, at the level you've gotten. Let me put it that way. You know that because the color is coming through, that you can read his emotion at least. He's definitely not hiding his emotion.
there's something else there that's being hidden, and you're not sure if it's just you aren't really good at, you're like having some trouble reading that part of the pattern, or there's something blocking it, you know, but you're not sure 100% other than color coming through.
And if I'm just going to continue to analyze his aura throughout this conversation, would I be able to spend an additional willpower, or would it just require a whole separate roll?
If you were going to try to basically use the ability again to try to get like a better roll, then you'd have to use the willpower again. It would be a separate roll. If you would assume that you're watching it the entire time to kind of like see if the emotions change, I will let you just keep the same roll. Like, he seems upset about something. You're not sure what he's upset about. You don't know if it's towards you or something that's going on with him, but he doesn't. It's definitely like he's got like an anger about him, and probably from his tone, I will say he seems upset about something. You know, like he's like he obviously. I'm just gonna say, like, Nathan, you probably have like read some people before, just like, you know, from the words. It's very obvious that something else is going on that's got him angry, but he's putting a little bit of that upsetness on you, most definitely. Granted, it's not like directed at you.
So basically, I could keep watching at this level. I might discern like if his color changes,
Like his emotion
but if
changes.
I wanted
Yeah.
more information, be another roll.
You might have to get more successes, you think. Effectively, like something there was something, whether again like whether it's natural or supernatural, for whatever reason, something about his pattern seems off.
Okay.
There could be a lot of reasons behind it.
How bright it was?
I'd say it didn't seem particularly bright, but it wasn't like as dark as, let's say, like a vampire's would be. It doesn't remind you of a vampire.
Like
Yeah.
Does his aura look human?
His aura looks fairly human, yeah.
Okay.
It's if there wasn't that unusualness to it, you would probably just pass him off as human.
And what was this guy's name again?
It is Malcolm Chamber.
Malcolm, it seems that you are rather perturbed by something. Is that our presence here that has you somewhat riled up?
You're very observant about my tone of voice. You can notice that sort of
You're
thing
not
when
doing
you
much to hide
take a
it, I
look.
must say.
I wasn't expecting an old friend to show up and bother me at my work, basically. It's a little bit of unexpected. You're just icing on the cake on top of an already I've got people bothering me kind of thing. Let me put it that way.
An old friend, you said?
That's what I said. An old friend has decided to torment me and bother me for part of my journey. At least for a little bit. Before she can go back off to Greece.
Alarm bells.
Greece would probably not have huge alarm bells for you, I would think, about anything.
No?
None of the only
with-
person I know from Greece would be VtM, I think.
I'm not so much thinking a specific person as how many things we've encountered lately that have Macedonian connections. Granted, not, directly the same,
Maybe.
but very similar.
There could be an alarm bell to it. It could be a coincidence. I will tell you that much. He is He's saying that it's a woman. She's from Greece, or she's at least living in Greece right now. And she basically like suddenly showed up again, and he's upset about it.
And what is this friend of yours bothering you for? Is it specific information regarding your studies?
I'm going to put that under personal.
I need to look something up real quick to remember how something works.
Anyway, if you are going to come along with us, I will let you know.
She goes by, her name is, let me put this under Ayana, Tavros. You'll be nice if you do join us. It's Hayama Tavros. Please be nice to Miss Tavros, and do not speak to her unless she speaks to you first. She might be friendly with you. I have no idea how the hell she will react to the lot of you.
How many... Are we just in the room alone with this guy?
Yeah. There's probably maybe like a couple of people ending for the day. This is like after night. This place is shut down mainly. You know, there's a couple of people cleaning up some work. Their night janitor / guard who just is in the building overnight. He's already on duty. He probably stopped. He's probably like walking around doing stuff, checking things out. The person that you were talking to when you first arrived, who's like the person kind of like in charge of this place, or at least in charge of like speaking to people, has already wandered off.
All right. I am going to use Dominate, specifically Command.
Okay.
I'm gonna stress the word tell. Also, what was his name again?
Malcolm Chamber.
Malcolm Chamber.
Malcolm, judging from your, general being right now, it seems like you're rather stressed out about it. Perhaps telling somebody, speaking to somebody about your friend might help get a bit of a load off your chest. Perhaps you could tell me more about what she's looking into. That's going to be manipulation, intimidation, difficulty equal to target's current willpower.
Roll with a 6 because I will not reveal willpowers. Just roll with a 6 and I will take a look at your numbers. In this case, I will save that. There.
I also have a specialty in manipulation, persuasive. Does that apply?
Since the way you're asking it can be very, in quotation, persuasive, I will let it apply.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And for the rest of you, do I burn another willpower on this? Because I'm kind of tempted to burn another willpower on this.
I feel like if it's another vampire and you piss him off, you might need the willpower for something else.
That's what I'm thinking. The orders got me a little worried.
Do I smell anything weird on him?
No, nothing noticeable.
Okay.
Smells just like, it probably smells a lot like he's been out in the wild. So it's like, actually give me a, just give me a perception alertness. You know, you can, just difficulty 6.
Does he smell like wet dog?
No. Just because I want to, like, maybe, like, break it down a little bit more.
Well, that's going to be 3 successes.
Okay.
Hopefully, even if that fails, it's persuasive enough not to piss him off.
Perception, alertness, difficulty what?
Just roll with their difficulty 6 right now, I'll say. We're just going to see what you can break down in, like, the scent pattern and stuff like that.
Is that including my acute sense thing?
That will include your acute senses thing, sure.
Cool.
Damn, that's a lot of force.
Okay.
Damn, that's a lot of high numbers.
You'll kind of break down that there is a number of, like, scents on him. First off, there's certainly, like, a lot of, like, dirt and dust kind of, like, on him. It looks as though he works in the dirt and dust. There's a little bit of, like, it smells like maybe, like, animal musk or something like that. Definitely not human. So maybe he's,
By
like...
the way, the 10's technically, if we're doing the... Are we doing the new thing where they count as 2 or doing the reroll thing?
We'll do the new thing because we know about it now for this session, I guess, we'll say.
Cool. Well.
Okay. You got a lot.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So,
You got a lot.
8!
So, beyond that, again, like, there's some kind of, like, animal musk. You don't recognize the animal. You never smelled it before. Actually, no. Maybe you have. It smells a little like, you know, maybe he's been around, like, some elephants or something. Or maybe, like, elephant dung or something. Because he's got a little bit of elephant on him. That might have been just, like, something that he was nearby to recently. There's also, like, some kind of, like, strange colognes and stuff. There is something that you will notice that's a little bit unusual. there isn't a lot of like general human musk to him. There's not a lot of human musk, but like for Africa, he's not very sweaty or anything. Maybe he showered and then just put the same clothes on again, and that's why some of these smells are like that. It might explain the cologne or something. You know, if he's not washing his clothes and just washing himself, that could explain it, but it is a little unusual. There is definitely some kind of like floral, you know, either perfume or like soap or like kind of like that kind of smell is on him. It doesn't say that he showered, and that's why there's not a lot of like sweaty African musk on him, you know, because it is hot out. You are very equator-ish.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that's what you get. So what were you were asking him to tell you more about the woman?
Yeah.
About
getting him to tell me what his friend's looking into. That's one automatic success, and then success is based on his difficulty.
He's just gonna say like, look, I'm fairly certain she's just here to get more inspiration for her work. She's a sculptor.
Oh.
She enjoys sculpting. The artistic type, you know. Comes into the place, gets some inspiration from ancient works. The usual for these bougie types.
Why do I get a feeling that auto success is the only one I got?
If it is, that's a lot of willpower.
That's an insane amount of willpower. Because he did not tell me much for dominate.
Well, I mean, he did tell you that she was in looking for inspiration for her book.
Sculpting.
Sculpt, yeah.
Oh, for her sculpting.
Which he's like, you know, looks at ancient stuff, gets inspiration from the past kind of thing.
I'll kind of glance back at Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. How much do the private tours cost? Or is it just a friend kind of thing?
Also, I will send a text to Nathan.
Private tours? He said that basically he's got some work to do that he's going to be going out into the field for, and that she's just tagging along. You know, I guess to like hang with him or something, or like catch up with him while he's actually trying to work, and then be going to these places. And then he was willing to take you. He's actually going to say like, I'm going to be parting for the first one tonight, right away. I don't have time otherwise. I hope you don't mind some late night. I've got some spotlights set up in my truck that I'll be setting up to study a site when I get there. It's unfortunate that I won't be able to reach this one during the day, but you know how it is.
Well, that is convenient for us, actually. We generally keep some odd hours.
Great.
I
have
will
my own
text
vehicle.
Nathan.
I have my own vehicle. It'll be me, my assistant Michael, and then my friend Ayana in there. If you need us, well, you can borrow some radios from here. I'm sure that's probably the best bet. I'm gonna go talk to Zane. Ugh.
All right.
I do text Nathan. There's something not quite human about his smell.
Probably not checking his phone right in front of this guy.
Yeah, no. As soon as he goes off to find Zane, though, he'll be like, a sculptor. That could be interesting to learn about as well.
Indeed. Man is not to be trusted.
Samuel.
I'm not quite sure why you keep nudging back to me. I'm just kind of here. Is it?
Well, I'm not very good at looking into things.
Oh.
Remote.
Yeah, I've got you. I was.
I was thinking we might be able to learn a little something.
Yeah, I can definitely look into that. Can I roll
Oh.
something for that?
Yeah, what are you looking into?
The like sculpture stuff?
Tavros?
Tavros?
Ah.
Is that something I might know? Because I think I have a little bit of occult knowledge as well. Yeah, I've got a little bit.
Tavros, you can very easily look up, if you look up the word Tavros, if you look up the name, you can find out about I'm not going to say like super famous sculptor, but a sculptor of some like small repute in Greece. She, appears very randomly, is very secluded, sticks to her work, comes out with very interesting pieces of art, of sculptures. She's very like she specializes in figures in various states doing things. She seems to enjoy like almost recreating like the style of like ancient cultures, like so she's very good at sculpting people. And then she puts like them in various garbs of like various time periods, like armored figures from like medieval, or like something that might be akin to like like an Egyptian pharaoh she's done before, things like that. She prefers marble, and that's basically look at it. Tavros, if you're looking it up, you can find out there's a translation to it in Greek. It's a Greek last name. It means the bull. If that means anything to you. Her first name means, I don't know what... her first name is not Greek, though.
Man, it must suck having a name that means I don't know what.
I mean, her first name isn't Greek, so it doesn't show up in like that. So, she might be multicultural. I'm going to roll something here. I'm going to roll some dice. I think that's the appropriate number.
I'm sure you already picked up on it, but that man is not to be trusted.
Nathan, there is something very important that you remember, that you've heard a rumor about. That's a very important rumor, which might be important in this case in time, because it's something that Helena discussed with you at one point in time, especially when you were talking to her about some other things. When you were talking about various powerful vampires and stuff to Helena, she did mention that there is indeed one powerful vampire that is thought to be awakened and in Greece and is not trying to murder the world. Arakel, the Toreador antediluvian, has been in Greece and is thought to be awakened there and just doing her thing. And she was a renowned sculptor.
Could be coincidence.
Yeah. That's probably it.
Mm-hmm. I rolled some things for you, and you rolled really well. Let's see here. There were 2 10s. There were 2 10s and no 1s. That counts as very well.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that does count as very well.
I will also say, like, she's also known as Ishtar, the bull dancer. Hence the name
Looking at the stream, it is a good roll.
Mm-hmm. I only guesstimated how many dice you get. I might have not given you enough. How many do you normally get for occult intelligence?
Occult intelligence?
Yes.
I would have 5.
I gave you an extra 1. That's okay, though. Then the 9 didn't count. You had a
I
4,
rolled
10,
6,
an 8, a 2, and a 10.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to finishing the thing. Fuck, where was I? I'm sure you already picked up on it, Nathan, but the man is not to be trusted.
Yeah, he didn't ask for money.
Well, that aside, there's something off with his aura, and I can't figure out exactly what it is. It's just wrong somehow. He didn't come across as a vampire. He didn't come across as a changing breed or anything. There was no distinctive sign, really, other than his anger. But he doesn't fully seem human. There's something off.
Speaking out loud might be a bad idea, as he did give me quite a once-over.
Didn't he leave?
He did walk off.
Yeah, I thought he, like, actually left.
Yes, he went to go find Zane and, like, borrow a pair of, like, walkie-talkies or something, like, or, like, short-range
Presumably
radios.
in the building, though, right?
Yes, still in the building, though. He will be coming back.
You know, you know how you have an acute sense of things?
So he's not left. He's just in.
A different area of the building.
Never mind. This will take place later then.
Mm-hmm.
I was under the impression that he was actually gone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so there's the big working space, and then there's presumably like a hallway off to other stuff and
Yeah,
bathroom.
there's this big working
front area.
space, which is in there. There's like a bathroom, a front area, like a little like pseudo museum place where they can like go towards and like show off some of like this stuff that they have on display of what they're doing here, presumably to like encourage people, like, you know, investors and stuff like that. Some offices up on a second floor, some actual offices.
Yeah. What I mean is, I thought he had like full on left.
Oh no, he's escorting you out of the building, so he's gonna come back.
Okay. Well, then in that case, I'm going to activate heightened senses instead.
Okay. No, he'll, you know, he'll go off. He'll come back at a short time, kind of throw you a walkie-talkie and said, like, he says, perhaps meet outside the local, he'll name the bar, you know, meet outside there in about, I don't know, give me half an hour. I'll get myself together and grab, Ayana.
Very well. The ladies in the party truck, I suppose, are dipping into their alcohol. If you would like, though, you're welcome to join us in
No, thank
our
you. I'm
van
sorry.
for wine.
As much as I'd like a drink, I'm working right now. I can't say anything about Ayana. And,
Well, if she
if I'm
speaks
not-
to us, then we can invite her.
and I won't prevent Michael from joining you if he wants to. Whatever, that kid can take care of himself.
Very well. I look forward to your expertise.
All right. Why don't we leave it off here? Where are you going to go meet up with this nice man and a nice woman and a nice boy? Or so Malcolm, Ayana, and Michael.
And at some point, I talk to you.
And then at some point you have that talk. While waiting for them, probably.
Yeah, I'll check my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I'll send a text to Leslie.
Mm-hmm.
It appears that Emil agrees with you. Perhaps using this device would be more difficult for him to...
Well, with knowing that he hasn't left the building, then none of the conversation happened yet.
Right.
Well, I texted.
Yeah, he already
And-
texted.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, Leslie's to you.
Yeah, and as soon as you start talking to me about it, I'm going to text you.
I mean, are we going to do all conversations about potential non-humans over texts, though?
We're not.
We've talked about people before when they were not in the area.
True. Do
It'd be-
Malkavians usually have auspecs?
Malkavians have specs. Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking for a Malkavian.
Not necessarily.
No, we're not looking for a Malkavian.
We're looking for what Malkov left.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mekhet is supposed to be watching over it.
Right, and we don't know who or what Mekhet is.
Nope.
At any rate, that this man is not a vampire, so like I'm not worried about him having auspecs.
Interesting. Yeah, you rolled well enough that if you want to use that information to know, like, again, like, there's, like, little bit of information which may or may not be helpful to you, as I always do. I give you a little bit of lore stuff that you know that may be helpful. The Toreador Antediluvian, Erical. She is Malkov's twin, actual twin. They were brother and sister, and she is the oldest of all Antediluvians. And also, you have to know that Antediluvians have woken up before and not murdered everybody. It's just that they really don't do it as much in modern days. and also in modern days with apparently strange tensions going on, they've been a lot more unpleasant than they have in the past. So, you know, the entire thing with Simiche going all like flesh monstrosity seems to be a result of that. He got better. I mean, other ones, they just end up in really horrible places, like Malkal's merge with all the Malkavians, the Madness Network, and, you know, the Sombras in the Abyss hoping to return and bring forth a shadowy apocalypse to the world, etc. Anyway, so...
He's not allowed. He's stuck there.
Given that Mekhet is supposed to be watching over this area,
Mhm.
I'm going to be significantly more paranoid right now than I normally would have been.
Mhm.
Especially what with this Tavros the Bull stuff.
Yeah, it could be just a really silly coincidence I've set up to cause you to be extra paranoid. Or it could be something.
Well,
We'll
you know
find out
what?
next time.
It's working.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we'll find out next time if your paranoia is correct or is it a red herring. So, let's have people go around, shout out who you are, where to find you, etc. I like going counterclockwise, so we'll go to Carpe. We'll start with you.
I am at the Carpe DM. You'll be able to see that in chat once it pops up.
Yeah, I'll throw it out here.
And you can find me on Twitter, occasionally on the YouTubes, and I'm trying to go back on Twitch, but COVID scheduling is crazy.
Yes. Yep. And then Worm.
I'm Diamond Worm. You can find me on twitch.tv/DiamondWorm or at DiamondWorm on Twitter. I stream on Thursdays at around 11:30. I'll probably be streaming Warframe again.
Cool. And Dunce.
Hey, I'm Dunk TV. You can find me on Twitch at Dunk TV and Twitter at Dunk TTV. I'll be live later tonight, actually, on Dunk TV.
Cool.
Be there or
Yeah.
square.
And Umber.
I'm Leslie, and I do Leslie things, including this nonsense here on Tuesdays.
Exactly. Leslie things. They're very important things.
Mhm.
Ten
I stare
Star.
at people and they become colorful.
Yeah. 10 Star Adventure Coven. I'm here most days. If you're looking for my normal RPG schedule, my schedule currently is Mondays, 2 p.m. for Records of Evil, Lawful Evil D&D games, D&D 5e games set in modern day Faerun. This game every Tuesday at 2 p.m. We'll do more Vampire the Masquerade. Certainly next week we'll be dealing with the moving into the hopefully finding something now that you've got your guides and you're heading into the depths of the Rift Valley. And then Thursdays at 8 p.m. EST for Children of Wrath, a D&D 5e game, this time set in the Magic the Gathering world of Dominaria, the plane of it. If you're looking for... I will be on a other RPG stream this evening, 8:30 EST at the twitch.tv/theunfunny1, where we're doing Star Trek Adventures, and I get to be a Gorn and a doctor. So I'm a giant lizard man, that's the ship's doctor. And that's fun. So join me for that. And I'll probably stream some more gaming throughout the week here. So check out. It's not Star Wars Lightning. I know that our illustrious DM constantly calls Star Trek Star Wars, but that's not true. He does that a lot. So probably some more Stardew Valley and other things throughout the week if you look for gaming. Anyway, let's head off. Have a great rest of your evening. If you see one of us doing stuff, great. If not, hopefully see you at least here next week. Same Vamp time, same Vamp channel. And until then, farewell, goodbye.
Hope you had a great Easter.
Yes, that too. This is not our musical episode either.